Hello and welcome to Kohler Commentary. It's Unni and I'm here with my brother and sister, Oppa and Unni. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
also known as Alex and Jessica, Chi. Even though we don't share that name legally, we are forever bonded. And so this will be releasing around Chuseok time. Not that it's necessarily in honor of Chuseok, but wanted to let this space happen to reminisce on our childhood. And I thought it would be cool to even listen to the different perspectives we might have had on similar events that occurred because of whether our gender or our ranking in sibling order or even Enneagrams or whatnot like that. You know, how does that sound, guys?
That sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh my gosh.
Let's go.
So much enthusiasm. I wanted to bring up like a few different instances and how you guys felt based on your role or identity within our family. So first off, how did you guys feel growing up that we did receive spanking in our household? How was that experience for you?
Oldest first.
I just remember the fly swatter being used, and it was like a pink fly swatter.
Broken.
Yeah, and
The broken end.
yeah, and the end was broken, so it hurt a lot. And I remember trying to hide it whenever we thought that we might get meme on our hands.
Try to monitor your ums.
Okay, that we would
Try
get
to monitor your interruptions.
get a meme or spanking on our hands or the back of our calves, I guess.
Oh,
but
okay.
I remember we hit it and then she found something else.
Who hit it? Was I a part of that? I don't remember ever trying to
really?
hide anything.
I definitely hit it. Maybe
Wow,
I
look at
hit
the
it and then
sibling.
she got like a spatula or something else to.
Umma had the pink
Yeah.
fly swatter. Appa had the bat.
Yeah.
The play school bat. What's it called?
The plastic bat?
The plastic bat.
And then how did we feel about getting spanked? Or how do we feel about getting disciplined? I can go first. So for example, when I think about that time, I actually don't think I have that many negative memories with it. When Matt and I were also trying to think about if we would spank our children, my assumption was, yeah, I'll spank my children. Like that's what I had received growing up, and I don't think it traumatized me or anything like that. But, you know, for Matt, who had never received spanking, he was really against it. And so after we did talk about it together, I mean, I don't want to be the sole spanker. And so we did agree not to. But then I was like, oh, I wonder what the perception was within our family receiving it. Because for me, I remember getting spanked all together all the time. I don't really remember individual, like solo spanking. So I kind of found it to be fun. Not like fun to get the aya, but like in it together, like the three of us, you know?
Oh yeah,
And
or like we had to like
손들어. I love
hold our
손들어ing.
hands up.
Yeah. So whenever we
you
did
loved
I
it.
don't think you're remembering.
I
this
remember because
correctly. You know.
when Amma and Appa would leave the
cried the
room,
most.
yeah, probably. But when Amma and Appa would leave the room for 손들어ing, the holding hands up, you guys would like put your hands down, and I thought that was so cool. So I would put my hands down and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is rebellious!" And then we would like all rush it up if we heard footsteps coming back into the room. So I guess my memory right now, even though I'm sure in the moment I was the most emotional and the most scared, I also felt the most like unity. I remember a memory of, wow, that was a time it was like always us three together. And so I enjoyed the memory.
But you know, also I think what plays a part in that is because you were the youngest.
Right.
Whenever
you got memen, I got
all
memen.
did. Even
no,
if-
me. At least I'm.
No, we all three did. But there would be times when it would be just me or just Unnyok. And I will say, I think there is a difference between gender.
Probably because I didn't get in trouble more.
Maybe. Maybe. But I actually do remember one time Appa was spanking you with the baseball bat.
I remember
and
that
I
one
was
too.
Scared.
I remember
And
that one too.
thinking, I was like, oh my goodness. Omma only spanked me. I don't think Appa spanked me.
Oh, I thought we definitely got all spanked with the bat.
That's why I don't
No.
remember you guys
I
getting
just-
spanked with the bat. That's why.
Oh.
That's why when
I
I said the
didn't.
bat, I was like, oh, you remember? Because I was like, no. It was always the pink fly swatter for Umma for everyone, and then it was only the bad.
Oh my gosh.
So
In my mind, I feel like I got spanked too. We should ask Appa. Because I
Maybe it's
remember,
the camaraderie.
like,
that
I
you
remember
feel.
getting spanked, and then I remember Oppa getting spanked harder. And I was like, oh, whoa, you know? Interesting. Okay, so you guys can share your own perception.
I don't think I have perception. I also don't remember any specific beating, in my opinion. And they all just were the same. But I guess because I got 혼내. I would probably say the most out of all of us. Because whenever 누나가 혼내 is usually because of me, and whenever 은지가 혼내 is usually because of me.
So you
So
were
I was in the middle. Maybe I was the instigator, maybe I was not, but I was always part of the conflict.
Interesting. Would you guys want to spank your children?
When I see Jaden, I don't live with Jaden every single day, every moment. But for now, I couldn't think of or imagine spanking Jaden to get him to do something, because even now, even as like a 2-year-old, he's really good at listening to logic and understanding. Even though he cries and throws his tantrums and stuff, I think that he's really capable of understanding without spanking, whether it's different kinds of consequences. So I think I would try not to. At the end of the day, all it really did was kind of instill fear of like disappointing our parents. It didn't really. Are you kidding? Like you thought that would be quiet? I'm confused. I'm gonna clip your nails in the middle of this.
I really need to clip it, and I saw it just now. I'll do it later. I agree with what Nina was saying, because like I don't think the punishment measure or whatever really made me behave better in any way. I think it also got to a point where it also didn't hurt anymore once I got a certain age. I think I remember one time I told Appa it didn't hurt, and he tried to get something strong.
Why would you tell him?
Yeah.
Well, I also think that maybe because now I think I would want to have a conversation or talk it through with my kid or whoever. But maybe when we were growing up, it was harder for Umma and Appa to kind of have that kind of conversation where we understand and really kind of think about our choices and what we're doing and all of that. So that could have played a part in it too.
Also, because there are 3 of us, so when Unji has her second, and then
That's true.
The dynamic may change, and
I may
the parents'
want to.
patience might become harder to have, and yeah.
I remember always having to hug each other after we got spanked. No? Do you guys remember those things?
I don't remember that at all.
I remember Appa saying,
yeah, and
to
like
hug.
say I love you, because a lot of times we got spanked because of each other, not necessarily of them.
Because it was when we were younger.
Yeah.
That,
So we have to like hug each other and say I love you, and then sometimes
You
he
don't
was like,
remember that?
yeah,
Yeah, I remember it.
yeah, and that was my favorite part of the ending.
that's
of
why you
spanking.
liked
yeah,
getting spanked, because you knew there was a hug coming after.
yeah. I just want hugs from you guys.
I like the meme better than the
Sondura?
Sondura?
Oh, why?
Because Sondura took longer. Like,
But that's more time together.
exactly. The meme just get it quick and out of the way, and then just move on. Also because it may have been better for you, Unji, but it made me more annoyed.
And then the one memory we have of when we got dropped off at Callaway. Do you guys remember that day?
I remember like getting dropped off. I don't remember what we did. We were just fighting in the car.
I think Oppa was hitting me at least. I know that.
I actually was driving today around, and I saw
Callaway?
Callaway, and then literally today, and then before you told me we were doing this, and I was like, oh, Callaway. I wonder if that's the one that we were left at. I don't remember what it was about. I just remember we were all 3 fighting. I don't remember specifics.
But when that happened and when we got dropped off, what were your initial thoughts?
I was in shock. Are they actually going to leave us here? And then I thought that I'm the oldest, and then I have to figure out what we're gonna do. Do I have to like feed you guys or figure out how to get back home? And so I actually don't remember really much of anything of that time, but I just remember that feeling.
Yeah, I don't remember much. I kind of figured that they would come back, but also I think
Didn't
I remember
care?
just not caring. I was like, okay, well then, I guess we'll walk home then. I think that was my mindset. All right, let's just
How
walk.
old were we? I don't remember how old
We were in
school?
I was elementary probably. I think it was before our Korea family trip, which was
I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade then.
Okay.
I also remember being in shock and was like, oh my gosh, what? And I think one of you two were mad and then was like, just sit on the curb, just wait. And so I remember sitting on the curb.
Yeah, I think that's
That was
definitely
probably
Nuna.
you.
No, you were the one that's probably like, just wait. And I was probably just like, let's just go. They're not coming back.
Oh, really?
Because you're the one that like you just said you had to like chingo.
Yeah.
you were
I don't know who, but now I'm assuming it's you.
Yeah. Right? Because I don't think I would say to you, sit down and wait. 'Cause
Yeah, I just remember I was crying because I was like, oh my gosh, what? Like, what? Because like being left or something. And then someone was like, not like be quiet, but like stop crying, sit down and just wait. And so we just like waited. And then they came back pretty quickly. And later they had said they just like drove to the side and watched us the whole time. So just to preface, like, okay. Okay, next one. What were the internal pressures or internal thoughts you carried as we studied hard or thought about future things based on our family dynamic?
For grades, there was an expectation of almost perfect, I think, when we were younger, because it was easier to get good grades when you were younger. So only 98s and above were allowed. I remember 98s and above. And if you got lower than a 98, I don't think anything really happened, but I just remember being really proud, like taking home my progress report or my report card and having Omma and Appa sign it, knowing that I had gotten all 98s and aboves. So like seeing that kind of made me feel like I had achieved it. I had done it. When I got older, I did feel a certain pressure to get certain grades. But at a certain point, I knew that I was always trying my hardest. So even if I didn't get it, it wasn't because I didn't try. It was because AP calculus or something. I knew that it was because I just wasn't really that good at it. And so, and pressure from Omma and Appa, I don't think I really felt that because I think they knew that like I was trying to.
I guess for me, it was the same. Like, I don't remember this 98 bar. I think
Yeah.
it probably went lower for me growing up. It was probably like 95. I remember it was just you had to get an A when we were younger.
Mine was 98.
Yours was 98, yeah. I remember having to go to the Duke tip program
yeah.
one summer of 2002, when I could have gone to Korea to go see the World Cup, and I was really upset with that. And because I went, I was able to like go ahead in math, and that was like a big thing that Omma and Appa were happy about. But it also made, part of it meant like I had to start taking those SAT classes really, really early from like 7th grade, which I didn't really like to do. I think also being a grade younger than Nuna, who got very good grades, she set the bar pretty high for me. Early on, it was easy because, like you said, it's not like school was like overly difficult. But then it was more time management as I got older. I remember.
Well, you also had soccer
Yeah,
and
yes.
sports to do. I didn't.
Yeah, so that was a big thing for me growing older, is I would always like have to stay up late doing work, but then that meant I would fall asleep in class all the time because I'd wake up early for soccer practice, and because I fell asleep, I had to teach myself at home by myself or like,
borrow my notes.
and borrow borrow
Take my notes?
borrow my sister's notes.
No wonder I couldn't find any notes when I was going to.
I do remember one time I got a jewelry box from Omma, and I actually still
remember
have
that.
it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Jewelry box?
It was really random.
It's from things remembered unless like engraved, and I never got one.
Maybe I
For
was
your
It's because
doing-
yeah,
it
she
was
got
for
some.
my-
It was for some grade thing.
But I remember it wasn't even for like an amazing grade.
Yeah.
Maybe I wasn't doing well in school or something. I think it was. It was.
bribe?
It was when I was in high school. I got a 95. I think everything like average 95. But I remember being surprised because it was lower than normal. Like,
my
because
God.
my normal was higher, you know.
Oh my goodness.
No, but Omma, but Omma, she gave me a
Jewelry
she
box. Yeah,
engraved
it's the
my
silver one with the
name.
2 hearts that like align.
No, it's only one heart. She engraved my name in it,
Mm-hmm.
even like Jessica Chi. And I was like, wow.
Did it have your GPA on it too?
I was surprised because like, oh my god, they're not the type to reward
Yeah.
something
never
or to
rec-
give
I
any
never
like
received any present or
engraving
praise.
jewelry boxes is like not a very Asian, like a Korean thing to do. So I remember being really surprised, but also I was really touched by it. Have you guys ever received any engraved jewelry boxes you want to share?
No.
I don't think I received anything regarding to grades.
Yeah, I think my bar was probably 90, I'm guessing, because I was scared when I bring 89s home. Maybe, yeah, just like more lax as the child
Child.
order continues. I don't remember too many stressors with school. I also feel like I probably could have tried harder, but I was meeting all the expectations. So I didn't feel like a pressure so much. I think in terms of college, I do remember that because you guys went to really great schools that cost a lot. I do, I know they don't like it when I share this story, but I do remember being sat down and be like, please go to UT business, okay? And I was like, I want to go to UPenn. And I never applied because I was like, okay, well, I'll just go there. I think that was my main remembrance is like I applied to one school, knew I was going to get in, made it happen, whatever the expectation was.
Which is very different,
Yeah.
I guess, from mine.
Yeah.
They told me to apply to
Everywhere?
15 or 20 schools. And
But that's funny because I thought it was unfair not unfair,
Yeah.
but I was like, I'm only going to get this option. But on the other end, yeah.
For me, it was annoying because they wanted me to apply to more schools. But at the end of the day, you apply to more schools, you still get into, a handful. And
Yeah. And application fees are so expensive.
Yeah.
In hindsight, after being a college counselor for a while too, I would still want it to have like, if I knew in hindsight, then I would have encouraged little me to be like, oh, you should try. Oh, you should see what scholarships are available. Just things like that. And if it still worked within budget, then go for it. And if not, like, obviously UT is a great school too. But Oppa's the only one that had like a crying moment for college.
My college journey was definitely a little bit different with soccer. Being recruited, usually that happens before your senior year. So I originally was supposed to go to Brown. I had committed to Brown. Something happened with the paperwork, which was not really, I guess it was technically the coach's fault, but it's
I didn't know this.
yeah, there was this issue, and I had to wait to apply again. So in the meantime, this was my senior year, and then all the other like Division I schools I had talked to their recruiting roster was already filled up. So then I at that point I was just looking at other schools that were good at soccer that may not have been Division I, like Division III. I was looking at like WashU, Trinity, Emory. Like before that, Stanford and Brown were like the two schools I really wanted to go to. And then the whole Harvard option came later in my senior year. There was a player on my club high school team that applied to Harvard and he didn't get in because his grades weren't good enough. And the Harvard coach reached out to my club coach about me and trying to recruit me. And then it all happened, very suddenly. And like basically this was like my senior spring.
Yeah.
I actually had already committed to Emory, but the Harvard coach had seen me play, and he wanted to see if I could go to the school. But there's this whole process, your college, like there's this whole application process where they couldn't see my application until all of the other waitlist people for Harvard because I was such a late applicant. Yeah, and then I was all ready to go to Emory. I visited the school, I visited the campus, the coach, the players were great. I was getting ready for my preseason workouts and getting ready to go to class, and then, we got a call. Me and Appa and Unni were eating lunch at Razu's.
I FOMO
This
that.
was June 22nd, so it was like it was super late.
Oh, you remember the date?
I'd already graduated high school, and I remember Appa would like call the admissions office like trying to get an update, but of course they had their process to go through. So then when they finally got to my application, they were able to find a spot for me at the school. And then they got a call. I went outside, took it, came inside, and then
you guys all cried?
Everyone cried. You cried too.
Yeah, I cried because you guys were crying.
I think you cried first.
Did I cry first? I don't know. I cried because I saw you guys crying. That was really late. I didn't realize how
really
late
yeah.
in the process it was.
Yeah. It was the thing where when you're in high school and you're like, you tell everyone, oh, what college are you going to go to? I'm going to Emory, but there's a chance I go to Harvard. But like I couldn't really explain how.
Well, let me tell you the whole story.
People just probably thought I was lying to them. Like, yeah. Yeah, that was my story.
Sometimes when I preface that I've been to UT, sometimes people say I say it very like, oh yeah, I went to UT or whatever, because it is a good school. But for me, I always heard, oh my gosh, are you okay that you only went to UT? How do you feel? Your brother and your sister went to Harvard and Berkeley. But it's kind of cool hearing
your
your
friends
stories.
have weird voices.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Berkeley and I love that I was able to go to Cal. But after having gone to college and lived my young adult life until now too, I mean, college is college.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of times that we talk about college to name drop and that, you know, there is prestige in the school that you go to. And, you know, it's not a good school for no reason. But at the same time, I will say I loved going to Berkeley because of my experience there. And what I was able to do, the people I met, being able to go to a school away from home, all of those things. I feel like I could have also had, you know, very similar experiences at another school.
Yeah.
But also I'm proud and I'm lucky to also say that I was able to go to Berkeley too.
I concur.
If you think you might be feeling depressed, stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, BetterHelp, the sponsor of this episode, is here for you. BetterHelp offers a broad range of over 20,000 licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Plus, you can get 10% off your first month with my code, betterhelp.com/Kohler. With BetterHelp, you can talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience, and all you have to do is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs before getting matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you schedule secure video and phone sessions, plus you can exchange unlimited messages and everything you share is completely confidential. As a mom constantly working around Jaden's toddler schedule, having my weekly therapy online has been a complete game changer and a huge reason why I have made big steps to better my mental health for myself and for my family. You can also request a new therapist anytime at no additional charge. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Don't forget to use my code to get that 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/Kohler. That's better, HELP.com/Kohler. Okay, next. I was going to do 2 more, but we'll just do 1 for now. Maybe we'll make this like a rolling series. Kind of fun to think about our different perspectives. Maybe if people want to drop in some Q&As of other topics to hear and listen to. All of us had our own roles and identities within our family dynamic. How did you feel in terms of just like obeying our parents? What did that feel like for you growing up?
I guess earlier on, obviously our parents were strict with grades. It felt normal when I was younger. It's like, oh, like, especially because the people I was definitely surrounded around too also had probably similar upbringings in terms of how strict their parents were. I don't think it was until like I got into high school where I realized just how different, like, you know, my lifestyle was compared to my friends at high school and compared to like my friends like on my soccer teams. I remember like Omma and Appa would never let me spend the night at my friend's house. So like, and this wasn't even until junior, senior year. Like before that, going out was always something that I couldn't really do as much.
Really? Even in high school?
It's a story that I tell people where the reason I'm so good at ping pong is because I like challenged Omma and Appa and was like, if I beat you guys in ping pong, then you guys need to let me stay out later or like let me go out. So that's why I practiced and I became I practiced so I could beat them.
Going out, I feel like is different than like saying I want to go over someone's house and spend the night.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I think it was the whole like I'm not allowed to spend a night at my friend's house. And this is when, because Nuna was a grade older than me, I didn't have a car until my senior year. So Omma would pick me up at like 2 a.m. to take me home.
But also I just wouldn't
too.
go out anywhere till 2 a.m. So except to do calculus study parties at my friend's house.
Oh, I see what you mean. I thought you meant
Like
you
there
waited
wasn't
until 2
a need to negotiate.
Yeah, I think definitely more junior, senior year. I went out a lot more, senior year especially. What about for you, Angie?
I had friends at high school or like at school, but I was definitely closer to like my church friends. I don't know. I went out when I went out. I felt like I could sleep over whenever I wanted to. I slept over like some of my high school friends. Like I got to sleep over at Vivian's, but she also lived like 5 minutes away. I think when I think of obedience, that might have just been a naturally easier role for me to do. I do remember 2 things where like one, I remember, and I think I might have shared it in our other family podcast, but I remember sitting at the top of the stairs once when I heard Unni and Umma like yelling, and Unni was in high school and I think I was still in middle school. They were like yelling about something. I heard Umma go, why can't you be more like, not obedient, but that's maybe the word I remember now. Like,
I think you said, why can't be like more like Unnyok.
like Unji,
that
right?
would happen.
And like in that moment, I was sitting upstairs listening, and I was like crying because
Oh,
there's.
she said like Unji?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't say that.
Well, because you said, and then I remember being like, oh my gosh, I don't want Unni to hate me because Oma just said me. And then to Oma, I was like, oh no, I need to keep being like this so that she like has someone to be like that for. And then there was another time where Oppa just got his like permit maybe. And we were at church on Saturday. I remember it was Sam on or Jim on, one of them. They needed a ride home. But since it was permit, you shouldn't be taking people home yet or whatnot. And that was like a rule, right? Like, don't take people home right now. But Opal was like, I'm not going to leave someone at church. Like, we're going to take him. And you're not going to say anything to me. And I was like, okay. And so like we take one of those on brothers home. And then we get back home and we're showering after the church thing on Saturday, and then Amma calls us out, and I'm like, I remember I just finished showering, I'm in my towel. She goes, well, so-and-so's mom just called me thanking me for taking him home because we came home saying like we didn't do anything, we just went straight home. And then I remember like just feeling this like, oh my gosh, I can't lie, I must always do the right thing. Like those memories are ingrained in the sense that like, but in the moment I didn't tell her because I wanted to be on Oppa's side, you know, and like, yeah, Oppa said we're not gonna say anything. But I remember like I had just showered, I was like in my towel, like feeling exposed and like, oh no, I hurt almost feelings. And I looked over at Oppa, and Oppa, she was like, well, I took him home, like what else would I do? And I was like, what else? You know. And I just remember those moments in little ways of like thinking, oh, I do need to be obedient or whatnot. So yeah, those memories came to mind.
Obedient to what? So
I don't
not
know.
To have taken
Yeah, I think so. Or like either not to have or to have said something to like let them know, like
we told them later.
the mom did.
No, I think that was you got caught later.
I have no recollection of this, but I stand by my actions.
No, yeah. So I think it's just a fun way to think about things. Like I am happy we took him home.
I think growing up, I thought that I was always pretty obedient, especially being the first child. I took a sense of responsibility in making sure that I do listen to everything that Amma and Appa say. And weirdly, thinking back, I actually remember that moment that me and Amma were fighting.
Oh, okay.
Because you told me later that you were on the stairs.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I was fighting, what we were fighting about, but we were like really fighting, and we fought a lot. But when I think back on it, I'm thinking, of course, it's also like my point of view. I was a pretty good kid.
Yeah.
I was trying to recollect because this
Like
was high
for
school.
what I
yeah.
did, I didn't really do anything bad, right? If anything, we might have clashed a lot on probably like doing stuff at church. I'm thinking spending more time there. I do think one big difference between you, Unji, and how I approach them, you couldn't lie to them as
Yeah.
much. I think I could.
No, yeah, I think that was something you guys always told me. Just say a freaking white lie. Just say a white lie right now. And I'm like, I don't know how.
It doesn't have to be a white lie. It's a lie.
So maybe I got caught in that lie. But to my defense, I was lying about not something so bad either, you know? But of course, probably in that moment, it was something that I wasn't supposed to do. But I think looking back on obeying parents then versus even now, I will say I was definitely more obedient because that's just what you should do. And that's just what it is. And I definitely speak out more in that situation, right? Like Unnyok was saying about the driving. He was like, well, were we not supposed to take him home? Right? Versus like standing your own ground in what you believe versus obeying for the sake of obeying.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I get it.
as I get older, I realize more of what it means to stick up for what you believe in, but also respect your parents and communicate that clearly.
Let's wrap it up with a favorite childhood memory we have of each other and a family legacy we want to carry on. Not legacy, but like something we liked about growing up.
One of my favorite memories with Unnyok when I was a kid, it's like a kid memory, would be when we were at church And I would I remember I used to piggyback Unyak everywhere. And even when I was with my friends, I would make sure I was piggybacking him and that he was there at church with us. And we would go out to the pond out back and catch tadpoles. Do you remember that? No, you don't. Huh?
Yeah, tadpoles in the back of the pond behind the church.
But
yeah.
I just remember thinking, oh, Unyak is my responsibility and I need to take care of him. And I was young then too. I was probably like 3 or 4 years old still. That was...
Oh, so this is
Wait,
like
actually-
Florida.
No, actually, I think maybe it was when I was older and you were already born, but you were with Umma and Appa. And so like I was watching you. So I remember that. I remember one time we were eating Legos. Do you remember
Eating Legos?
Yeah, we put Legos in our mouths. And we got in trouble by Umma later, but we were like putting it in our mouths and we like hid under the TV. There was like a cabinet and we like were hiding in there and putting Legos in our mouth. And then Umma got mad at us after and I felt really bad that I got you in trouble for doing something. Unji, my fondest memories are when you would want to sleep in my bed with me, and you did sleep in my bed, but you always kicked me in my face. You would like turn around in your sleep so that your head was at the bottom of the bed and your feet were at the top, so you would always kick me in my face. I told you that if you wanted to sleep with me, you had to sleep on the floor, and so you slept on the floor. So you brought your like sleeping bag and you slept on the floor of my room, and my bed was really tall, like pretty tall, so I'm like in this tall bed towering over you, sleeping on the floor. And I did feel bad that I made you sleep on the floor, but I also felt really nice knowing that you would still rather sleep on my floor than in your own bed in your room.
It's crazy. I'm the stillest sleeper now.
I know. And it's like changed now.
Yeah.
You wake up because I'm annoying in bed.
I guess favorite memory of Nuna, I think it's because when we were younger, we did a lot of same sports together. I think one of the ones that stand out to me was taekwondo with each other. I think that was I remember like just like having to stretch and like running back and forth and doing all that stuff. So I remember taekwondo, I remember gymnastics. Did we swim? Yeah, we did swimming too. I think more though, like especially like in the taekwondo class, I just remember being able to spend a lot of time with you there, especially when we were younger and you didn't hate me too much then or didn't get annoyed.
I remember at home we would practice sparring.
Yeah, practice
like put on our sparring gear in the garage and like practice sparring.
Yeah.
Actually, I do, to add on to that another story. I remember I used to like but not just sparring with like pillows and stuff on the couch. And I remember I wouldn't hit you too hard. But I remember I was much stronger than you, right? But there was a certain point when I was doing it and then you overpowered me and I couldn't like beat you anymore. And I was in shock. I remember thinking, and we were like 9 or 10 years old probably. No, it was later. I was much stronger than you for a really long time.
I don't think so. Because I stopped doing taekwondo at like when I was like 10.
I know. I think probably when you were in middle school, maybe you started getting a little stronger than me.
But this story doesn't make sense.
Why?
I didn't do
stopped at
taekwondo
10.
in middle school.
No, it wasn't taekwondo. It was like wrestling
Just in
pillows,
general.
like cushions. And I remember
disagree.
you came and you like put it on my face, and then I started like I couldn't breathe. I was like, and I couldn't push you off, and that was when everything changed. I remember I was shocked when Unji beat me in arm wrestling before too.
Yeah,
you
now I
used to be
can't.
really, really strong.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
shocked.
after this child is done and I'm back to shape, watch out. I'm back to.
Watch
Alright.
out.
And I guess for Unji, I don't know, we fought a lot. I remember yelling at her a lot. At church, she would yell at me when I'm playing basketball, like, we have to go. And I was like, well, one more game or one more point.
But she was just the messenger. She was just obeying
And then she'd have
Omma.
to go to Omma, and then she'd come back and like, Omma says now. I think my favorite child memory would be when I would like play soccer in the backyard, and Unji would come out and kind of the same. Like Omma would tell me to come inside, but then Unji would stay out a little longer, and she'd be goalie, and then I would hit the ball not as hard as I could, but I would try to hit
Pretty hard.
as goalie, and that was fun because she wanted to come play soccer with me, but for me it was a good stress release as well. So
A punching bag.
Yeah, actually, that was not enjoyable, the actual activity, because I was scared. But, the intent
I didn't hit
of-
it too hard.
Okay, mine, I would say I really enjoyed, we would race showering, me and Oppa, like in the bathtub, like who can do it faster. And we would like time ourselves. And then like Oppa got under a minute a lot, like maybe like 55 seconds or something like that. I remember just like having fun, like racing about who can mogyok the most. Or like sometimes if...
Are we sharing to the audience our hygiene?
So
like,
you guys didn't really clean yourselves is basically what you're saying.
way back when we were younger and still showering together, maybe you were too old so you couldn't bathe with us anymore, but like sometimes we would skip the soap and we're like, I won't tell if you don't tell.
You guys have such good memories.
And I feel like, you know, like that's our little secret, you know, like against the parents. And I was like, okay. I think probably though, in the sense of maybe sometimes I did want to do the soap, but I didn't do the soap because it was a secret. I don't know.
Blaming me for being dirty.
No, I'm blaming. In the end, I'm blaming myself, like learning how to, you know, stand up for myself in all circumstances. But those things were fun to do, and I mean, we shared a lot of friends growing up, so all those times. But then, yeah, sometimes Oppa was mean to me around the friends too.
But
And-
we're only sharing good memories,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Unni, I mean, I guess the sleeping thing. Actually, I don't think I felt close. I think a lot of things I enjoyed was like when I lost a bet. Like, I mean, lack of better terms today in this time and age. But if I lost a bet, we'd have to do like slave and master, you know? And I actually really liked being like that and being like, okay, Unni would be like, go get me a cup of water. And then I'm like, okay, like I do remember those stuff. And that's actually a young memory I have because I always felt like Unni was too cool growing up because even when we had our family trips, you would always be with the komos and then I would stay back with Oppa and the cousins. So I don't know. I felt like I didn't connect with you growing up that much. Interesting. I also had a lot of FOMO as you guys were talking because you did all the schooling together and then you did all of the sports together. But I never got to do taekwondo other stuff. And then I remember seeing you guys practice those sparring stuff and I didn't know what that was. And so, yeah, it's interesting. And then I always thought, oh, when me and Oppa go to school together, it's going to be so much fun in Frankfurt. But Oppa just had Inkimano with all the friends I made. But no. Anyways.
I think we only overlapped one time.
Yeah, that was 1 year and I was so excited.
At Frank? Oh, because it's 3?
Because Shepton and Plano West were 2 years schools. Cool. Okay. It doesn't have to be family legacy. We can talk about that another time. But any family tradition you enjoyed growing up. I like Tuesday, 50 Cent Tuesday movie nights. And then Appa coming out of it saying we have to give him like an essay or talk about the movie together. I enjoyed that. It was like something to look forward to on a weeknight. And knowing it made him happy because it's cheap. And then like talking about it together after was my favorite part. The takeaway.
I liked the movie night too. I guess I liked you guys always coming to my soccer games.
Yeah.
Until a certain point when we were younger.
Mine is going on road trips.
To Memphis?
Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
So anywhere though, I think
Like skiing.
it's
skiing.
Really, Appa said road trips were because he didn't want to buy plane tickets because it was so expensive. But we had a lot of memories, I think, being in the car for so many hours with each other before we had video games and iPhones and all of that stuff. We would read or watch like, Korean dramas on the small TV or really just sleep. And we went to road trips where it was like 14-hour road trips or going to Tennessee, going to a certain place every year, going a lot of road trips with the family.
Wow,
I
we were
really
flexible
liked it.
kids.
We were. Can you imagine having 3 kids and going on? I actually think the drive from Florida to Tennessee was about 17 hours.
Yeah, but we didn't do that one for that many times.
Well, we did.
We did a lot.
We did, but like we were too young to remember because.
Oh, yeah, and I don't remember.
But we did it 3 times a year.
Oh, back then, because we did it 2 times once.
We did summer, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
Oh, we did
We went
Thanksgiving?
there.
I didn't even remember we went to Tennessee from Florida.
Yeah. It
so
was a
6.
long drive.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't
You
really
were
remember.
8, so,
Yeah, Appa
yeah.
drove.
Appa drove
it
a
straight,
lot. Yeah.
17 hours straight. But I do like that feel of driving in at night.
Yeah.
On
yeah,
Christmas, like
yeah,
that Christmas
yeah,
week of
yeah.
Christmas, and we would always drive through that one street where all the Christmas
Yeah.
lights were up before we went to Halmoni's house. Like
Core-
it
core memory.
signaled like the start of like
Family
Christmas
time.
and family time together.
And where you get to be with the cool komos.
I loved being with the young cousins too. I like that too. I remember
I liked it too.
planning the treasure hunt
Sardines.
game. Do you remember that?
Scavenger hunt.
This, yeah, or it was a treasure hunt. I wrote one hint that
Yeah,
led to
the
another.
riddles
that led
and
to,
stuff.
Yeah, and
That's
then
true.
at the end there was like a something. So, I mean, that means Jaden needs lots of cousins
Yeah.
from us, and we're not there yet. But
Jaden will be the one
having-
writing the riddles
I know I'll teach him my ways.
to you guys.
I already have.
Are
So
you guys stuck?
Well, this was fun. Any other thoughts or questions you guys want to bring up? I'd like to do this again over the holidays when we come back together, guys.
me too.
Me three.
Oh, and because this is Chuseok, and we did talk about what we're grateful for within our memories, but is there a Chuseok memory we do have growing up? I mean,
I don't remember.
Chuseok not much.
I don't remember doing Chuseok stuff when we were growing up.
Well, then I can X that part out.
I remember telling Umma about it, cacaoing. Like, hey, Umma, happy Chuseok. Umma's like, it's Chuseok?
I agree. The first time I heard Chuseok was, I think it's because Jiwon's birthday is
Yeah.
on Chuseok. So.
Oh, back,
Jiwon's birthday is not Chuseok.
not this year, but sometimes
isn't
it
it
can
always
be.
Chuseok?
No, Chuseok is in October.
No, it's September. That's why I'm planning this.
Oh.
It
Jiwon's
changes.
birthday's on the Korean Independence Day. That's right.
Oh.
Independence Day.
X it all out.
Cut that part. Cut that.
Well, next we're going to play a game called Parents Are Human, and that will be for another transition. I really enjoyed this time with you guys. How did you guys feel?
It was really nice.
Are you excited
Thank
to do it again?
And we're very excited.
She speaks for both of us.
Cool. All right, let's go watch Bachelorette now. Bye.
Bye.
Did y'all catch that Smartless podcast ending? I had so much fun reminiscing on the good old days with my siblings in this past episode, and I hope it encouraged you to reconnect with your own brothers and sisters to see what their perspectives of different incidences might have been growing up. I can't wait to do more of these little snippets throughout the year, since I think they are really fun and kind of actually a way to have all of us reflect on the upbringing we have in immigrant families. Although we may not have directly celebrated Chuseok that much growing up, it is known as Korean Thanksgiving Day and one of the most important festive holidays of the year. Known as Hangawi, which means the 15th day of August, according to the lunar calendar, so I guess technically Chiwon's birthday. The holiday period lasts for 3 days where Koreans return to their ancestral hometowns to celebrate with families. Koreans celebrate Chuseok by making special foods, particularly a certain kind of rice cake called songpyeon. The rice cakes are arranged upon layers of pine needles as they are steamed, filling the home with the delicate and fresh fragrance of autumn. On the eve of Chuseok, family members gather to make songpyeon together, illustrating the importance of family in Korean society. I'm grateful to have gotten to take this episode to reminisce on family with my siblings and choose to be grateful for the struggles, the joys, and everything in between. Stay tuned for next week's part 2, where we invite the whole family to play a game, Parents Are Human, so we can continue enjoying and more connection during this holiday celebration. If you enjoyed this episode as much as I did, make sure to rate it 5 stars and subscribe so you never have to miss another. Go to @ColorCommentary to comment your key takeaways and join the email list to share what you want to hear about next. I would love to hear more from you on the topics you want to listen to. Bye!